the Doug Show Live, our weekly live stream where I talk about things and then answer questions. Today, we're going to talk about some plugins and themes, couple things, and formula. We're talking about a little bit of nootropics as well. So let me know in the chat if you can hear me. It's always good to double check that. Also hit the thumbs up. If you're watching the replay, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. Let me know that you do watch these. I think I could double check about the sound right here. Oh yeah, it's working. It's working, which is good. Sometimes it doesn't. And we see Abhishek there, and I have my cord tangled up. Hold on. Okay. We have Abhishek on, doing well today. I just went to go work out, so I feel pretty good. Have some water, and it's warm here. It's 96, and I was thinking, man, it's a little hot. I did just work out. Sure would be nice to have a beer. So I grabbed a beer. Jeremy, what's going on? You could hear me fine. Fantastic. So we have here from Oscar Blues. It's called Mama's Little Yellow Pills. It is a Bohemian Pilsner, which is, actually I have a lot of favorite kind of beers, a lot of different styles, but a Bohemian Pilsner is fantastic, so good. I guess like the original is Pilsner Urquell, which I think a lot of people have had. And I encourage you, if you do like a Pilsner like this, to check out Pilsner Urquell in a can. A lot of times they come in a green bottle. It'll pick up some light struck off flavors. And in a can, well, you're blocked. You don't pick any UV rays or anything up like that. So you end up with like zero skunkiness. And this is from Oscar Blues, which is very local. It is out of the Lions area, which is on the way to Estes Park from here. It's only about 20 minutes away, which is great. And there's a few locations of Oscar Blues. They have like some brew pubs here in the area, which is cool. And since I moved out of the Southeast, I think they opened up a production brewery in North Carolina somewhere. So for the beer nerds out there, you probably already know where that is. So I'll pop that open in a few minutes here. I am thirsty though. All right, we got David on. Oh, let me just say hello to everyone. We have Marchance H. Homebrew. Awesome. Very cool. Masher's on. Sean, what's up? We got David, we have Oscar, hey, what's happening? And other people are encouraging others to drink beer too. So that's great. Gaurav is on, heard Jan's episode. Yeah, so quick shout out, I guess, to me in the podcast. 2 cool episodes this week, and it'll be sort of a shift. I'm doing a lot more success stories coming up. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, you should. And quick note, I do publish the podcast on YouTube, but it's about 6 months behind. So if you want the new fresh stuff, you got to subscribe on one of the directories out there. So it's on all the major ones. I interviewed my friend Rob Atkinson on Monday and talked about his site that he launched a few years ago that's getting anywhere from, I think at this point in time, he's getting about 750,000 visitors per month. And sort of at the height, before any sort of algorithm change or anything, he was getting like 1.5 million. So a lot of traffic. And then yesterday, on Thursday, I published an episode with Jan, who had questions about what is it like to work for yourself? Is it as good as it sounds? Are people like me? Are we making it sound better than it is? Or is it just another grind? It's really up to you. I'll summarize it quickly. It's really up to you. You can accidentally create a grind. You can create a job for yourself if you don't watch what you're doing and sort of plan and adjust as you go. Because you won't really know what you like and enjoy working on until you try it and see how it works with the rest of your life and what you want to do. So you have to understand your priorities, but then after that, I mean, it really is up to you to shape it however you want. If you want, you could spend all your time, interacting with folks. You could spend all your time creating products, or you could do sort of a blend. And I end up doing sort of a blend. Other people maybe focus in one area and then hire folks to do certain things. So Gaurav, thanks. If you have any follow-up questions, Gaurav, send them in. Jan actually emailed me this morning and said he could provide more context and really just lay out his story. So he's like, I can get like free personal advice from Doug and I need the content. So I told him, send in the questions. A lot of people can relate, like you, Gaurav. So send in questions if you do have them, that is. Kieran is, I think, maybe where the UK homebrew is out of. And Jeremy's at the office. They frown on beer drinking while you're at work. And the homebrew shop person says, try working with beer and still not being able to drink it. Are you not allowed to drink there? My goodness, I've been able to meet a lot of folks who work in the brewing industry, and I mean, obviously they're not getting drunk in the morning or anything like that, but they have shift beers, so I've had lunch with some folks and they have, a light, perhaps like a Pilsner, it's not super high gravity, it's 4.7%, so I can have a beer now. I have a bunch of other stuff I got to work on today, so it's not a huge deal out there. But yeah, I mean, if you're at an office or whatever, but if you're at a homebrew supply, you expect to try the beer from the customers and stuff. I used to almost always bring beer in to try when I was going to a homebrew shop a lot more often. And Jack compliments me on the interview with Rob. So yeah, if people missed it, how many folks were able to check out the interview with Rob? Always good to catch up with him, down to earth. And we went through a lot of the details of like when he first launched his site. So how much content did he publish, and link building practices. A little known fact, he actually built a bunch of PBN links originally and then pretty quickly rolled them off within the beginning of the year. So I'm obviously opening the beer now. It does give me something else to do and talk about. And I'll be brewing some beer with a friend of mine locally tomorrow. I won't mention it because I didn't clear it with him, but some people also know that there's an affiliate marketer and blogger in the area who also enjoys beer. So if you know who that is, then you know who it is. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about that, maybe snap a couple photos, something like that. So cheers, everybody. Happy Friday. All right. David liked both episodes this week. Very good. So a couple of the episodes that are coming up we have Ashley coming up on Monday. I don't have my schedule up, so I'm going to do it from memory. We have Ashley coming up on Monday, who is not going to be on the YouTube side. She wants to keep a bit of a lower profile, but she emailed me and said, hey, when I hit $500, I'm going to let Doug know. I'm going to be on the show. I want to help inspire other people. So basically, it's an awesome interview. So she has been dabbling for a while, had some good success in the last little bit, and recently hit, I think, $1,000 like when I interviewed her. So from the time when she emailed me, she moved up even after the Amazon commission rate change. So pretty impressive. Then we have another interview with Anthony. So Anthony, talked about him recently. There was a little segment. He gave me a little info about how he outsourced some of the link building to a VA who helped him get links on Haro. I think he said he was getting links for, I don't have it written down in my notes, very inexpensive, great links. And I think they were about $35 a piece. He mentioned when you explode the math out and calculate all that. So people were very interested. I interviewed Anthony. We went through a few of the high-level details of his success story, and then we talked mostly about Haro and the process that he uses. So we go pretty in depth, and basically after you listen to that, you'll have the main broad strokes that you need to do to outsource Haro. Pretty awesome. So hopefully people will enjoy that. People are often looking for a way to outsource, number one, and then work with Haro, number two. And Sean says, dude, I strategically placed the plant behind you. It just works out this way with this angle, which is great. Makes me look like I got really nice hair here. And I don't know. I think I like it. I've noticed it, and I've waited, Sean, for someone to mention it. But you're the first person. So, yeah, looks pretty good, I think. There, see, there's the whole thing. And there's one over there. So when you have the other camera view here, you can see them both. You can see them both there. But this camera just looks so much better. It's funny, this one, I mean, it looks nice most of the time. But then when you pop over to the other, it's a whole different situation. So I see we do have some questions coming through, so I'll definitely get to those as things move on. And, Ashley says, I came on the live stream right when I said her name. All right, cool. Yeah, so Ashley's coming out next week, and then we have Anthony. I also interviewed Christy, who I can't remember when I'm publishing that one, but Christy's been on the show a few times. She's at $3,000 per month, so her revenue continues to grow. She's earning about half from display ads and about half from affiliate earnings, which is pretty awesome. Then there's one more coming up. So we're out a month, right? So we have 4 coming up. Then we have Melissa, who I interviewed on Wednesday. She had $300 a month. So a lot of this, I'm trying to aim for people that are earning, under 1,000 in many cases, and just hear those early stories, because in a few years, right, or in a few months, or however people's journey takes them, they're going to be making more. If you listen back to episode number 2 of the Doug Show, Marty McLeod is on, and I think he hit, $1,000 then. I can't remember. And Christy's first episode, when she was on the show, she made $100 per month, right? So she had her first $100 month, interviewed her, and then she was just on in the last week, or just interviewed her in the last week. It's coming out soon. So anyway, Doug Show, check it out. All right. Let's see what else we have here. So quick note before I move on too much. This episode is brought to you in part by Ezoic. You should check out their site speed accelerator, which helps your site load faster. Quick note, I have been seeing people say, hey, I put the plugin in, or I installed the plugin. It's not speeding my site up as much as I thought. What gives? So key thing, you should use the DNS integration versus the plugin. If you use the DNS integration, essentially it's like using their CDN, which is a content delivery network. It's geodiverse located servers across the world, so things load faster, because when someone's on their phone, instead of having to hit a server, 6,000 miles away, they hit the one that's closest to them most of the time. So anyway, use the DNS to see the speed gains that most other people end up getting. One caveat is, if your site is loading super fast, it's probably not going to load that much faster. Or if you're already using a CDN, then maybe, you're probably in good shape. But check it out. Free 7-day trial. Thanks to Ezoic. Appreciate their sponsorship. All right. And thanks, Ashley, while you're still on here, for, talking to me the other week. Okay, I'll hit a quick question here. We have SZ Prince. Pretty cool name. Don't know if that's your real name, but pretty solid. Sounds like maybe a DJ, maybe a rapper. I'm not sure. I'm starting a blog for the first time. Give me some advice. Oh, and tell me about content writing. Well, SZ, I'm afraid that's a huge question. So I'll give you a couple jumping off points. First, tell me this. What's your goal with your blog? Are you trying to write and spread the word on something that you find really important and you want to share your thoughts? Are you trying to make money? Are you trying to sell a product? Do you have a business already and you just launched a blog? So what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do over there? And about content writing, best advice I can give you is create an outline. Don't try and write like in a blank document or in WordPress or anything like that. Create an outline, very broad, then make it more specific. Use the outline as your subheadings and just write few sentences at a time. Keep it simple. Definitely create an outline though. All right, and let me catch up here. Jack says you're looking to change hosting for a few non-mission critical sites currently on fast comment increase their renewal rate by over 100%. That's bananas. Okay, any recommendations? So Jack, I think you'll probably find, as you probably know, you know this already, I am an affiliate for SiteGround. SiteGround has excellent customer service and reasonable prices. They're not cheap. All right, you could sign up through my affiliate link. I would really appreciate it if you did, and I get a commission, of course. But you'll get, the first year it's usually reasonable, right? It's a competitive price. When you renew it, it's typically more expensive. So keep that in mind. The next year is going to be more expensive. Most hosting companies do that. The thing that SiteGround does really well is customer service, right? So you don't want to have an issue and have trouble. For example, with Bluehost, I had numerous problems where I needed to get a little help and they couldn't help me, right? I end up chatting pretty quickly, right? I get answers and they're like, well, we'll have to create a ticket for our technical support team, and then they'll be able to go and reboot the server or whatever, jiggle the handle. I don't know what they have to do. I don't know where these servers run, but basically it wasn't right. It wasn't right. And I wasn't able to get the support that I needed. SiteGround's more expensive, but you can get support like that. A lot of people do recommend SiteGround. So that's what I would recommend. If you're looking for a little bit cheaper, Jack, I also use MDD hosting. That's actually where I host Niche Site Project and a couple of my other sites. I do try and mix it up with different companies. I moved to MDD years ago, and it's a small company. I'm not sure. I imagine everyone's using AWS out there. That's Amazon Web Services. I imagine most companies are probably using some AWS for the scalability and cheap prices and all that. But it's a small company, MDD Hosting, and they do a good job overall. Very happy with them. They have fast support as well, a little bit cheaper, but it is a smaller company, and a lot of times the support isn't in as numerous of formats. It's usually, I think it's, you could open a ticket, so that's email, or you could go on chat. Still very fast. I've never had a major issue with getting support. They did have a major outage once, though, a couple years ago. Like every one of their servers was down. They had some tragic, stupid mistake that was made over at MDD. An admin screwed up, and they had offsite backup, so the data was there. But speaking of CDNs and close servers and the speed of light, it still has to travel. There's a lot of data, right? So there was a lot of data, and it took a long time for them to transfer it back over to the primary servers after they fixed everything. Of course, you're like, why would you stay with a company that made such a tragic mistake? Well, they won't make that mistake again. So they had a couple like fail-safe plans that actually, they failed. So they had to change things up, and they won't be making that mistake again. So it's one of those deals where, you don't want to, fire someone who just learned that lesson that they won't ever make again. All right. So Jack, MDD Hosting, SiteGround. I'm an affiliate for both. All right. And GS, I was waiting. When you pour a beer, you actually do want some head on there as part of the experience. All right. Someone asked, is this going to be saved? Yeah, so with the live streams, they automatically upload and save over on YouTube, and I don't pull them down or anything, so they're all there. Chunky Moose, what's going on? We got Tiff Wilson. How's it going? New picture. And UK Homebrew says, I heard you need to move from Apache hosting to Lightning servers. How true is that? No. It depends on your hosting company. So it's agnostic to WordPress or anything else. So Some companies are using Apache, some are, I think it's Lightspeed, right? Lightspeed is the other. I guess there could be Lightning. I'm not actually very aware with the hosting web servers or anything like that, but Apache was kind of super popular, and I see Lightspeed around a lot more. I think MDD is on Lightspeed, so I am aware of that. All right, I'm going to talk about plugins. I took some notes earlier, and not really notes, they were just links. All right, they were just links. So let me pull that open. And so number one, the Focus WordPress theme. This is the one that I use over at Niche Site Project, and I believe I'll be able to share my screen here. Oh, I forgot I have this little overlay thing too. I haven't been using it much at all, but we do have that little overlay, which is nice. Okay, so I need to share my screen here, which is over on that one. Great. So this is DIY Themes. DIY Themes is, I guess, one of the original premium theme creators in the WordPress world. So Thesis was like the OG. All right, Thesis was way back before, 5 years before I ever heard of WordPress, let alone used it. So it went through a couple iterations. There was, of course, release 1, version 1. Version 2 came out right around the time that I was learning about WordPress, say 2013, roughly around that time frame. And I believe it was in 2019, in early 2019, Chris Pearson, founder of DIY Themes, released Focus. And I was already very impressed with Thesis overall. I finally got used to the ecosystem and just the time that you need to spend using a system before you kind of understand what's going on. So Focus is what I use now. It is, you could see some of the things. So they claim the fastest WordPress theme and great typography, great customizations, and there's a few other details. For example, I'm going to talk about plugins in a second, but you will notice that I don't use an SEO plugin. Yoast was sort of it's the ubiquitous SEO plugin. There's several others that are popular, becoming more popular, even new ones like Rank Math, which I hear very good things about. Yoast ended up being bloated. It's a little bit slower. They add more and more functionality. It's a very mature plugin, and it still does a fine job. And I've been using it a little bit more with another theme that I was experimenting with. I'll talk about that in a second. But the thing is with Focus, it's called the Focus WordPress theme, and it is a skin. Focus is a skin that lays on top of Thesis. So the framework is Thesis, but you could just think of it as Focus. It's all sort of integrated together. So basically, Focus has the fields in WordPress for you for the meta title and the meta description and a few other, I would call it, light functionality for SEO. So you can do a 301 redirect from within there and a couple other details that people use Yoast for. Yoast does a bunch of other things and slows down your site. So it turns out, for the nerdy people, you actually can use custom fields in WordPress, drop a function into your functions.php file, and essentially bypass the need for an SEO plugin at all. All right. So there's a lot of stuff like that where, there's ways around it. You don't need an SEO plugin. Anyway, the Focus WordPress theme integrates that functionality, so you don't have to worry about it. Additionally, right, if you look at Niche Site Project, which I can show you in just a second, but if you look at Niche Site Project, there's a couple areas, like at the end of a post, you'll see like an opt-in box, and it's at the end of every post. That is a piece of functionality in Focus. I don't have to have another plugin to do that. I could just say at the end of every post, put in this piece of code. That way, It's an opt-in box. And that way I don't have to manage it on every single post or anything like that. Sure, there's some other plugins that do it, but it's a plugin. It's not integrated into the theme. So you end up with like faster load times because you're not loading plugins and dynamically pulling the data from the database via a plugin, right? So it's still pulled from the database, but plugins will slow it down. Okay, so Thesis is great. Focus is great. I really like to use it. And the other one that I have been playing around with, let me pop back there. So the other one that I have been playing around with quite a bit is called Carbonate. So let me pull that baby open. So we have Carbonate here, and my friend Matt Giovanisi created this one. Now, the cool thing with Carbonate is it's a one-time payment, and you could use it as many times as you want. However, there's no customer service. With DIY themes, the customer service is ridiculous. Chris will log onto your site and see what's going on. There's a forum, everybody helps each other. And Chris has answered my emails like over the weekend. I was shocked I would get a reply back in a couple hours over the weekend. It's just one guy. So the downside is on Focus, it's an annual payment that you will have to make, but you get good customer service. You also can only use it on, I think, 5 sites. Carbonate, one-time payment, use it as much as you want. However, you have to hop in the code here. So if you look at Carbonate, let's see if I can get to the actual, where's the site? Oh, and I just talked to Chris Kraft over here. Kraft Writes. He has a podcast, so that's coming out soon. I'll let you know when that is coming out. So where is the documentation here? All right, let me find the documentation here. Products, content. I'm lost here. It's bicarbonate. Okay, hold on a second, folks. Sorry. Let's get rid of this. Let's go back here for a second. Let me just get the actual. So again, the problem with Carbonate is you have to hop into the code, and I'm okay with that. I was actually looking forward to hopping into the code. However, I hit dead ends, right? I hit dead ends, and I needed to solve problems that I have already solved in the past, or new problems arose. So I hit a dead end a couple times, but just a quick example, it's very easy to say adjust the color scheme and the font. You hop into the code, Matt shows you right here, and you can change the colors. You can do some pretty cool stuff, and you can change the font. You just change it, right? Super easy, very straightforward. However, if you want to do things that are a little more difficult, you literally have to like try to code and figure out what to do. So a little bit of a issue if you are not a coder. So if you're technical in nature, you're probably going to be okay. But yeah, you definitely run into issues here. Both of them are fine. And I think depending on where your skills are, right? So if you know how to code, if you know some PHP, then I think using Carbonate could be cool. If you want to learn coding, then Carbonate would be a great way to learn, and it takes time to troubleshoot stuff. I ran out of time. So when I'm over on Niche Site Project, I need to get content out. I don't need to mess around with trying to figure out how to get categories to display properly, So, and we have Dan on. What's going on? Master says ranked math is awesome. Daisy likes it as well. And one of the downsides that I was running into with Carbonate is Matt recommends, he says Yoast must be installed, right? So I took a look at a couple things, and I was like, oh, you know what? I could change the code and not use Yoast. I figured out how to not use Yoast for a couple things, but then again, there was one piece of functionality that sort of goofed me up. And I'm surprised Matt uses Yoast on this, because he really likes a quickly loading site. So I guess everything else is fast. So if Yoast is the only thing slowing you down, it's not the worst thing in the world. All right, let's hit some other plugins here, and we'll hop back to this screen. This screen while I'm pulling up any questions out there, any other questions. I think I asked someone who asked about the general blogging. If you let me know what you're trying to do, then I can maybe answer it a little bit better. Okay, Mohammed asked this. How much bounce rate is good for a new website? Mine is over 85%. I don't really worry too much about the bounce rate. So I've seen sites that have a bounce rate of like 65%, which would be great. And then sometimes I see on some of my sites, it's like 92%. So I would encourage you to look at the time on site and look at how long people spend on the content that they're actually looking at. The content length is 2,000 words. How can I improve my bounce rate? You can improve your bounce rate by getting people to click somewhere else on your site. So you can have internal links. You can have other things that they do. Now, the danger, I'm not sure the default metric for the bounce of like how long people have to stay on the site, but I have heard people adjust that metric. So if someone's on the site for 20 seconds, it won't count as a bounce. So some people define it differently. And some people encourage you to put YouTube videos so people will watch and stay on your site a little longer. But the main thing is to have like engaging content. Have engaging content that's giving the information that the person is looking for. You could have a very high bounce rate if people are not finding the information that they're looking for. Another plug that I can give is for Link Whisper. So Link Whisper allows you to build internal links. There's a lot of reporting that's in there, which is great because in the past it was a little tough to get that data. You would have to use more sophisticated tools and that sort of thing. So if you use Link Whisper, it's much easier. You can use categories and tags to make it easier to interlink related content, especially if you've used tags and categories in a smart way. A lot of people don't when they first get started. I know for a fact over on Niche Site Project, it's a bit of a mess with categories. I probably need to get rid of half of them. You start categorizing and tagging early on and you think it makes sense, but really it's just a mess. So if you use Link Whisper, it makes it a lot easier. A lot of people have had great luck, great success with improving their rankings by using internal links. So it's definitely worth it to check out. Any other questions out there? Pretty light on questions today. And quick note for Mohammed, right? So you're asking about you were asking about bounce rate and improving bounce rate. And one thing you can do is put in YouTube videos. You can snag the embed code from YouTube. However, it uses an iframe to insert and embed that video. It ends up taking a long time for that to load. I think it takes about an additional 1.5 seconds or so to pull that data. And this is a plugin. If you don't use Focus, you can grab this plugin here. It's actually pretty inexpensive, I believe. And this puts a placeholder in, puts the thumbnail in, and it doesn't have the same performance hit. So it's called the YouTube performance plugin for WordPress. And this is also by Chris Pearson. This is his not partner site, but his other brand DIY plugins. And there's a couple. Actually, it takes functionality that's built into the Thesis ecosystem, and then he's pulled off the plugin. And he shows some information here. But the thing is, Mohammed, if you put a video in, you can actually put multiple videos if you want to. But each video that you put in is probably going to cost you a little bit of time. Could be up to a half a second per video. So just keep that in mind. It's a good plugin. I've experimented with it as well, and I have a site where I'm using Carbonate and the YouTube Performance plugin to use them together. And we see that Oscar asks about images and copyright. If you find images in Google with reuse with modification, is that okay to use? Generally, yes. However, you have to trust that whoever put the image up there didn't take it. So I would probably not do that. I would probably make sure it's from a source that you could trust, a stock video or a stock photo company that has all the mechanisms in place. Or if you use something like Unsplash, and there's a bunch of others that have copyright-free, royalty-free, free-to-use images. So I would go to one of those bigger sources that have a better mechanism. I'm not sure. I know you can search on Google and look for Creative Commons type material, but you never know where they got it from. All right, Derek's on too. How to design affiliate articles. All right, AR Skills is on. Basically, there's a template that I've already put out there, and I think there's a couple of videos that I've shown how to do that. So I would refer you to those, but generally you would have some products that you have like a mini review, summarize their features and qualifications for whatever the person is searching for. And you probably have a buying guide in a general sense where you talk about the features and things that people need to look out for such a product. That's basically it. David says, the VA and video editor you talked about in the podcast, did you find them on Upwork? Yes. Yes, I did. I sure did. Both on Upwork. Tiff says, I removed product images from my table for a couple of posts. Just left the product name, monitoring to see if it'll make more likely to click. Yeah, I think a lot of times it is, especially if you put in the text like click here for the image. And I like to have that for the product name. So it's like product name, and then in parentheses, click to see image. And then you use the curiosity, the fact that you're not showing an image, to encourage people to click. Masher says, what's my take on free themes from WordPress repository? I would say I'm fine with it. I would make sure it's not a theme where there's security issues or some kind of just nonsense. But if you find a good theme that is maybe the free version of a paid premium theme, that could be a great option. Off the top of my head, I would recommend, and I've seen a couple fresh ones recently, either the WordPress themes. I think honestly 2020 looks pretty good. It's going to be fine. I think I would probably, the unfortunate thing is like for 2020 and I think 2019, basically they're optimized for using Gutenberg, and Gutenberg is kind of slow, a little buggy. I don't really like it. It adds, more junk to your site essentially, and you don't really get much out of it, in my opinion. Some people may love it, but a lot of people do not, that I know, don't use Gutenberg. They just use the classic WordPress editor. So that said, there are plenty of other themes, free ones included, that you can use from the WordPress repository. Additionally, the parent company of WordPress is called Automatic, and they have paid themes and they have free ones as well. I've used a few of their free ones and have seen pretty nice ones in general. All right, and Dan mentions that he has put a YouTube video on a new post recently, so that's cool, very cool. Mohammed says the average time on the site is about 1 minute. So it's a little low. I encourage you to dial down into Google Analytics, look at the behavior, then look at the content and see how long people are spending on the pages where they're actually spending time, because I bet it's more than 1 minute. Most likely. Doesn't have to be, but most likely. All right, I want to plug another product that I use called Formula. For the people that have been around for a little while, you probably remember that I interviewed both of the founders for this startup, which is crazy because I just talk about myself a lot, and then I answer some questions. Occasionally I'm rude, and I have this YouTube channel and a podcast. But it turns out if you have a few people that show up like you guys do and gals, then people will talk to you if you email them. So it was actually a student of mine said, hey, I've been using some nootropics. It's pretty cool. And I was like, I've been dabbling a little bit. I really don't know what to use. And I'm a little intimidated. This is me telling him. It's like, I'm a little intimidated. I don't know what I should be taking. And you're putting chemicals that mess with your brain, right? So speaking of that, cheers again, everyone. So the thing is, I didn't know much about nootropics, and I saw GNC. There's just some plain old nootropic, whatever, right? And I don't know what's in there. It's like Monster, Super Energy, something or other. And I don't know. It's like, I'm going to make up a price. It's like $50, I think. Enough where I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I'm not sure if I want to get it. Anyway, this guy, I forget his name. Sorry. He was like, this company is pretty cool. It's called Formula. And so Formula, right? You can kind of read that. It's a little bright. Can we get is it going to work? There, that's a little better. So Formula, they have you take a survey, right? I think it's 4 to 5 minutes to complete the survey. Do you want to focus better? Does your mind drift? Do you get distracted? Do you need to speak a lot? What kind of work are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Asks you a bunch of questions, and then it'll make a recommendation. At that point, they send you, I think they have sample boxes, right? So they have samples, but you could essentially, come on, focus for me, baby. Come on, let's do this. Don't fall. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, lost the focus. Anyway, you can get, these little boxes here. Takes a second, and then it's too bright right there. Okay, there we go. And I have creativity, clarity, and logic. All right, so those are the ones that I ended up getting. I think the first time I got it, I had an energy one too, which had a little more stimulants in there. You get a few little packs in each one here. And I have recently switched over. Sorry, the focus takes a second here, and it's just far too bright. Okay, well, I'll stop doing that. So basically, I reduced my caffeine consumption quite a bit. And each one of these has, typically, if you get caffeine, it has 100 milligrams, which is about 1 coffee. Since I'm cutting back on my caffeine, I asked them to give me the caffeine free. So it's no problem. And I told them I want a little more creativity. I have the creativity when I'm writing, sometimes speaking. Clarity is what I have when I'm recording or doing a live stream like this. And then the logic is great for spreadsheet work or keyword research, for example. So there's a link in the description. And if you wanted to dabble in nootropics, it makes sense to get different stuff, right? if you, again, go to the store or you check out some other nootropics, it is a one-size-fits-all situation. They have one kind. What's Joe Rogan's company that he plugs, or at least he's an investor or some sort of a advisor? What is that called? Audit? Is that right? So they have, to my knowledge, at least when I looked before, they had a nootropic and it was just like one, right? At best, it's giving you like the baseline minimum of whatever nootropics are including in that stack. For these, they can like tailor it to the specifics. And I encourage you to check out the interviews with the founders of this company, just a couple guys in New York. And they've worked on multiple startups. One guy, I think he ended up being a high school dropout and then getting advanced degrees from Yale. So it was pretty impressive to talk to them. And I got some, the caffeine free. They have new boxes, by the way, which look cool. I think they're a little bit smaller, and I like the branding. They also include this little booklet now, and it talks a little bit about nootropics, gives you some advice. And then there's a little journal in here, which I was doing this already. And actually, I haven't wrote a damn thing in this new one because I kind of know what's going on with the nootropics, but they encourage you to write it out. And again, this is not focusing well. Hold on, let me get this in here because it should. There we go. So you can write what you took. You can put a couple words about your experience and then rate the formula. So you could say, I want more of that, I want less of that, whatever. You may find that one of them makes you anxious and you don't want to take it anymore. Turns out it didn't bother me at all. And I was just like, oh, I could take any of them. Some of them I felt like I was maybe, my brain was working quick. When I took the logic, it wasn't great to have a conversation with me. Actually, the other person probably didn't realize it, but I'm just like, hurry up and talk. Come on, I'm way ahead of you already. Like, go ahead, like finish your thought. Okay. Let me see what other people are saying. And okay, so we have UK Homebrew. UK Homebrew says, I use Astra theme with Elementor. Cool. Gaurav says, nice plug. Beer equals chemicals to mess with the brain. Yeah, Gaurav, I mean, I'm glad some other people caught that. Dami says, did Doug stop drinking beer too? I do. I stop every day, turns out. I will be, actually, while I'm here, all right, last week, there was something like 50 people on. Today, 22. I'm not sure like what the disconnect is, if it's the time of the, like the period of the month, or if I schedule it earlier or whatever. But it's very interesting. I have no clue. But I'm going to be recording a podcast probably either later today or tomorrow morning. So if you have any topics specifically, let me know. I am sort of shifting the schedule from trying to hit a stride, at least in the short term here, to do a success story interview like the ones I mentioned before, and then a solo episode like the one I published yesterday where I just perhaps answer a question or hit a random topic. So if you have a question. Edward says, if I include FAQ/buyer's guide at the bottom of a product article and is applicable to several product articles, can I simply copy it across, or will it be bad SEO? That is bad SEO. Yep. You should write it more uniquely for the specific kind of keyword. Yeah, you'll end up with some duplicate data. You potentially could get away with it if it was not a huge portion of the article and then you linked those two together. But from an SEO perspective, you wouldn't get in trouble. But if you have the same content on multiple pages, then it's not ideal. Gaurav says, whoops, just published a KG article 2 hours back in a competitive niche, already at the top of page 2. Nice. Very good, very good. And Gaurav says, thanks for introducing me to KGR. Other people are using KGR. Oh, Gaming World, you are making my point exactly. Gaming World says this. Hey, I lost my traffic 2 hours ago. My website, it's not loading and it's showing a 522 error. I think it's a DDoS attack. I think that is some sort of a, I forget what is that. So someone will tell me here. What should I do? Call your hosting company. Call your hosting company and hopefully you have a backup. Speaking of backups, that's one of the other plugins that I use. So sure, you can have one of the free plugins, right? They're free. You could do some integration where you have offsite backups. By the way, never trust the on-site backups. Those are essentially worthless if there's some sort of physical issue. Let's say someone trips over the cord, unplugs the server, and then it catches on fire. Whatever. It's on the same server. It's gone. So you need to have off-site backups. You need to have off-site backups. So I use Managed WP. So if you end up with denial of service, thank you. It just hit me right before you mentioned it. Yeah. So denial of service attack, where basically someone continuously pinging your server and it crashes it and basically can't load the page. So I think it's like 30 days of backup snapshots in the middle of the night. Oh, and Jack Frost says it's a distributed denial of service. Very good, very good. Yeah, so anyway, that Gaming World, my friend, is the reason why it's worth it to pay for a more expensive hosting company. It usually doesn't matter when you don't need help. But when you do need help and your hosting company is not there, then you're kind of screwed. There's nothing you can do. And regardless, having the offsite backups gives you the flexibility to say, oh, I'm going to open another hosting account right now. And then you can, with a click of a button with Managed WP, I think it is $1.80 per month for a site, to back it up and do all the stuff that I'm just talking about. You click the button and then it restores the site on another server. So you can move to another hosting company. Yeah, it still may take a day or two for the DNS servers to catch up. But essentially, if you have independent offsite backups like through Managed WP, then you're in good shape. Homebrew says, I heard you're a beer judge. Yes, I am a beer judge. I have actually all those books right there. All of these books right here. All beer books, and then there's another shelf down there. There's more beer books than there are business books. So, yeah, I'm a beer judge. National BJCP. Okay, some commit says something about unrelated. I don't know what that is. Jack says, are nootropics like NZT48 from Limitless? So I didn't see that. However, when I talked to the founders of Formula, I think both of them brought up Limitless. So yes. Downside to drinking a beer on the live stream is sometimes you have to burp. So it's just real life happening out there. All right. Gaurav says, what do I think about AAWP product boxes? I don't really like AAWP. The product boxes throw up features of the products from Amazon. Now these features are similar to my writer's reviews of the products. Is about SEO to have the same idea twice. That's probably not the worst thing in the world. I think if it's exactly the same, I mean, it's just redundant information, but people skim, so I don't think that's the worst thing. All right, we have Johnny saying you love my stuff. Great. Cool. Any other questions out there? Any other questions? Let's see if I had any other plugins that I was going to mention here. Oh, for affiliate links, I will mention AmaLinks Pro if you're, just only doing Amazon. If you are doing other affiliate programs and generally want to have a little more control, Lasso has a lot of, analytics and data and reporting integrated. I am just digging into Lasso and I'm finding some things that I'm like, oh, I thought this would be in there. So one of those, and actually I need to check to see if Matt got back to me, but it looks like you have to be an admin to use Lasso, which seems not ideal. That did not seem good to me, because as a person who hires people to help me, I have VAs and I don't want to give my VA admin access to my site. I just want to have them be able to create the product boxes and add URLs and that sort of thing. So I'm trying to see what the deal is with that, because it seems like there should be another way. I hope they add it soon. That's a kind of a deal breaker for me. And yeah, I pinged the support crew over there. So, Matt replied back. He says, that's a feature we need to add. I'm going to make an official request for it. And then Lasso grabs the da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Cool. So there were some updates made, and it's funny, Matt and Andrew, founders at Lasso, put out a YouTube video. I watched about half of it. They were talking about customer support, and I'm probably a horrible customer to provide support with. Part of me is with, part of me is like, okay, I'm not too demanding. I'm reasonable, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, this is like a deal breaking feature for me, and there's other solutions out there. So there's too many options. Okay. Rohit says, my site is hit by the May update. I think I used bad internal links. I make them clear all bad internal links. Any suggestions? So why do you think it's internal links? Typically, with the updates, with the Google updates nowadays, there's no one thing. So, if you make the changes right now, you're probably not going to see a major difference. So you don't know if it works until a little bit later. So I would recommend, whatever you think you're doing wrong with those internal links, which I don't 100% follow, I would fix that. All right, fix what you think the issues are, and then publish more content, improve existing content, and try to make the site better in general. Homebrew says they were hit by the May update, but things are stabilizing. Njit says, please help, my site is under attack. Call the hosting company. Again, yeah. Are people tricking me with all this? Telling me that they're having issues? Are people attacking my sites or something like that? And Rohit says, I'm adding new supporting articles, but your traffic is going down day by day. So I would encourage you to, keep publishing, keep pushing forward, unless, the problem is a lot of times if you're losing rankings and you need to move in a positive direction, again, like I said, it's going to take a little while for the impact to hit. So you may have like these lagging indicators, right? So the results are coming later. So you're doing work and you're getting bad results, even though they are not related. It's not a cause and effect. It just happens to be going on at the same time. Phil, what's up? Things are going well. And What's up here? Harry says, do I think ad revenues will rise over the next few years? I'm uniquely unqualified to even answer that. So I don't know. Interesting information is over at Ezoic. They're covering a lot of the like ad rates and COVID and the pandemic impacts on just revenue online. So check some of that stuff out. I think, right, for the ad revenue rates, a lot of times those end up following along with the economy just in general, from my very unqualified understanding. Gaming World says, could you tell me if juicers and blenders are competitive or not? I'm not sure. You need to do keyword research and then go look at the competition. But I would say probably fairly competitive. Phil says you have a number of customers hit by the May update. Yeah, I heard a mix. Actually, I heard a handful of people that were having issues, like everyone's saying, 15% traffic drop. Rob Atkinson in the interview on Monday mentioned he lost some traffic as well. And then there's another set of people who are getting more traffic, right? Usually there's a shuffling around, so there's winners and losers. So some people are winners. Yeah. And Nathan says, hey mate, any other issues with Lasso other than user access level needing to be admin? So, and I just got confirmation from Matt that that's going to be added at some point. I don't know how long it's going to be. Seems straightforward, but I'm like, I need my VA to be able to do this stuff. Other issues, I would have liked, Nathan, to be able to add a product within the WordPress editor. So at this point, you have to add your products in the Lasso dashboard. It does give you great control over the feature box, any of the copy that's going to be in there. Like Gaurav was mentioning with AAWP, it just pulls data, right? You can't edit it to my knowledge. Maybe you can. When I used it, you couldn't. So in Lasso, you could change all the copy in the description, change the title so you don't have like a huge long keyword stuff title. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. And I'm trying to think if there were any other, no other issues at this time, Nathan. No other issues. I think it'll be nice to, for me to spend more time using it, see the day to day. And then the other big part is to have a VA use it. So if they don't know what I know, is it easy for them to use? Mohammed made a new website 7 days ago. One keyword is showing up on Google on the first page. Great work. Now, if I edit that post, will I lose that ranking? Probably not, but it depends on how you edit it. So I would tread lightly, but at the same time, if the content's good, if you're doing a good job, then if you improve it, it should do better. So I would probably not change the title too much, probably not change the subheadings too much unless you have, you can, and maybe you should, but you should have a specific reason on why you're doing it. Rohit says, what are the things that Google released in their May algo update? Have I noticed anything with your own sites? So Rohit, the thing is right now, Google isn't telling, actually, I hardly pay attention because Google kind of stopped telling us stuff, but there's a lot of smart people in here. Folks, let me know. Basically, Google doesn't tell us any shit, right? We don't know anything at this point. They're just like, well, put out good content, don't buy links, don't do things for links. Just, publish the best content in the world, and you need to be an expert and qualified, and you need to show up every day and all that. I mean, it's basically like not helpful. It's like, do a good job, do better. And if you do a good job and the visitors like your content, then the cream will rise to the top. That kind of nonsense, right? So basically, no, I don't know what was in the update. And if you try to get the official word from Google, they'll tell you basically what I just said in a longer format. You can check the Google Webmaster Guidelines and the quality guidelines. All right, Phil says, I host about 200 websites, 25% are affiliate and 75% are businesses and not targeted at affiliate. Oh yeah, the update is not targeted at affiliate sites as businesses are hit also. Okay, so Phil actually has more data, and yeah, I hardly pay attention to that stuff. Yeah, and some sites get more traffic, some sites get less traffic. Funny thing with Niche Site Project, I haven't published a lot this year, and traffic has dropped since November, December. I think there were a couple updates, so traffic dropped down. I didn't do anything. I publish even less. May update, traffic is up, rankings are up, and I did very little to nothing. So there's no, I mean, I didn't do anything. I did nothing, right? So no clue. All right, Jaren's on. What's going on? Yeah, Phil covered it. Yeah. Phil says, best thing to do, follow the Webmaster Guidelines, then you'll be good either way. Mohammed says, is it good to inspect that post URL all the time whenever I update the post? Can you rephrase that? I'm not really sure what you're asking. All right, for the people that are podcast listeners, first, if you're not a podcast listener, definitely go subscribe with your favorite podcast listener app, whatever you call it. And since you're on YouTube, I get it. You watch YouTube videos. So subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Soon, and I've been teasing this for a while, but I've been talking about, hey, I'm gonna publish some more videos that are actually keyword focused and da. So I'm still ramping up to that. I'm finishing a big chunk of work. I put out a course in the last month or so, and I'm finishing up all the content there, which is great. So close. Rohit says, many of my fellow site owners noticed that their spam sites are up and their authority sites are down. That sounds about right. Rafael, first time here. You're from Brazil. Cheers. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, you should check it out. All right, Gaming World. Gaming World says this. I'm using 3 keyword research tools and they're showing different search volumes. Which one's more accurate? I don't know. I haven't used all those tools that you mentioned, and turns out it doesn't matter that much. What you need to do, Gaming World, because I could tell by the the questions that you're asking, there's an FAQ section on my blog. It's called Niche Site Project /FAQ. That's how you get there. Super simple. And a lot of the questions that you're asking are already there. This is one of them. It turns out all the keyword tools are estimates, right? They provide an estimate. They're using different algorithms. Sometimes they're using different input data. And sometimes they're way off. They're all wrong. I can tell you that. They're all wrong. But what it gives you is a relative sense on whether a keyword is searched more than another. It's not going to be exactly right. They're giving you estimates based on historical data and whatever their algorithm is. So some tools, like I think Ahrefs, uses a longer period, a longer average. So maybe they're doing an 18-month average. I'm not sure if that's right. And some other tools may do a 12-month average or maybe a 6-month average. So if it happens to be a newer topic that just came up in the last couple months, you may have like skewed data because there's not much historical data. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. I suggest, Gaming World, that you pick a tool and just use the one tool, and then you'll have like that relative sense, because it really doesn't matter if you're exactly right or not. All right. I like the beer and live stream. Maybe maybe this will be a thing. I can go, I have a kegerator. I don't have a picture, but what I could do is get a full picture, and then just set it right here. I can maybe put a secondary camera over there. Maybe I could put this camera further back so you have like a widescreen view, and then I have this other camera. And I haven't even done a proper office tour or the new home tour or anything like that. So I have a couple things, but those are not going to be those keyword grabbers. Put out a new video on, I don't know, best free keyword research tools, or how to speed up your website, 5 ways to speed up your website. And Harry says, it would be great if I did another call with Morton from Passive Income Geek. Any specific topics? And Phil says, all the keyword tools have their own bots that scan your sites as well. SEMrush and Ahrefs have the most visiting ones, and you see all of them from time to time in the server logs. Yep. All right, I think we're wrapping up overall here. Let me double check any of my other links that we have. So I talked about focus. Check it out. We got Carbonate. There's a lot of links in the description, folks. So if you have a chance, check them out. We got Link Whisper, Manage WP. Oh, I forgot to put a link in there. And then we have AmaLinks Pro. We got Lasso, Rank Math, and the YouTube Performance plugin. We've answered questions, of course. If you want to hire me, you can. There's a link there. There's more information. It's expensive. I'm very busy. So I only work with people that I can really, really help. KWFinder. Oh yeah, KWFinder. That is the tool that I use. And shout out to Melissa, who will be on the show in a few weeks. She uses KWFinder as well, and it was a game changer for her. So you could use my discount code for 10% off. Oh, if you need a writer, a few people are asking like, hey, do you have a writer, Doug, that you can recommend to me? I usually don't, because I want you to spend your own time finding your own writers. But I do have one that I've worked with. She's expensive, but I work with her. I've worked with her for years, Haley. So you can go to her website. The pricing there is for sort of a different sort of content site. So shoot her an email. Basically, shoot her an email and she'll give you the right pricing. And I do have a link for Formula. That is the nootropics that I talked about before, right here. And this camera actually focuses a little better. It's funny. This stupid Logitech camera, it's like made to focus super close. Of course, now it doesn't do it. Yeah. Stupid thing. Formula, you can get some of that nootropic stuff. And yeah, I take it probably four or 5 times a week. Sometimes I take a break, but now that the caffeine's out, good to go. Plays well with beer if you want. Grammarly, use the tool every day. Use it within WordPress, use it in Google Docs. It checks my emails, and it helps my writing in general. And I'm using ecamm Live to do the camera switches like I've been doing here. Ecamm Live. So if you want to do live streams, you can do that. And then I think it'll slide back and forth. And actually, this is for live streams, right? So ecamm Live is for live streams, but I've been using it to record my videos because it renders them more quickly. I'm not sure if it records in the specific format. I'm not sure what is going on, but if I record it in a different application, I use ScreenFlow to do actual ScreenFlows. But it turns out I can do all of that stuff using ecamm Live, and it renders the video. I don't have to do editing as long as I don't make a mistake. So you gotta work hard not to make a mistake. Ecamm Live, it's awesome. All right, I see some other questions. Kent's on. What's going on, Kent? Haven't seen you on in a bit. Keyword Surfer says my site is only getting 9 visitors a month. Oh yeah, that's not quite right. Harry says a general call would be great. We have great advice. Okay. It's still send me questions. Harry, send me questions. What questions would you ask specifically to me and Morton? And you know what? I'm just being lazy. You know, I can obviously have a conversation, and Morton and I need to catch up. I think he's been a little busy, even though he's pumping out videos like crazy. Homebrew says, how much for a homebrew article of 1,500 to 2,000 words? Don't know. You'll have to email Haley. She does some package deals and stuff, but yeah, I have no idea. Gaming world. Killing me, man. All right. You know what? You can ask some questions here, but I have a feeling that they are already answered on the FAQ section. All right. You had some fairly basic ones, and I think it may not be a good set of questions, but go ahead and ask a few. I'll hang on for a second. Oh, Phil uses the Microsoft Editor instead of Grammarly. All right. Microsoft Editor. Yeah, I don't use any Microsoft stuff anymore. I got away from that in a bit. And we got Ben on. What's going on? Ben sent me a super chat. That's cool. Oh yeah. I need to mention this. Thanks for the reminder, Ben. So Ben sent a super chat. Appreciate it. And he says he's looking forward to the Atlanta meetup. So there's going to be an Atlanta meetup in a few weeks here. It will probably be on, I don't have my calendar up. Hold on, it's somewhere. It'll probably be on a Sunday coming up, and it'll probably be on Sunday the 2nd. Sunday the 2nd of August, most likely. So it'll probably be then in the afternoon, probably in Gwinnett, probably outside, so we can all stand far away from each other. And yeah, I saw the headlines and stuff in Georgia where the governor and the mayor of Atlanta are all fighting about masks and stuff. But whatever we do, it'll likely be outside. It'll likely be, very easy to social distance, and we're not going to have, any sort of enclosed space. Of course, the weather could be super hot or some kind of crazy storm. So I will probably have to come up with some backup plans and just be adaptable with that in general. All right, cool. Any other, can I add this to the broadcast? Oh, cool. Yeah, I could just pop that in. This is Ben sent me a super chat. Awesome. Appreciate it. And then I can remove from the broadcast. All right. Yeah, you just click the button. Things are good. All right. I think the gaming dude was going to ask another question. I'll do like one more, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes here. Because I am finishing my beer and going to do some more work. I do have some excitement. I mentioned it last week where I potentially have to do some jury duty in August. So that'll be awesome. Phil says to do a meetup with WP Eagle in the UK. Yeah, that would be a good idea. That'd be a good idea. Yeah. I think there's a couple people I could meet up with out there. And I think I haven't done much international travel in the last few years, because we always travel with our dog and traveled with our old dog. Homebrew asked about Brew Dog Ale. So I haven't had any recently, but I think I had a few in the past. They were fine. I'm trying to think if I see them around here very much. There's so many good local breweries, like within like miles of here, that I haven't been like branching out a ton. I used to go to, there's this place Oh, Ben will know. Ben will know this. The other crew in Atlanta too. Taco Mac, right? So Taco Mac, and I can't remember what they call the. It was called the Fred when I went there, but it's underneath the Taco Mac at the Prado. You ever been there, Ben? You ever go there? I think it's like the Georgia. It's like the Georgia beer something, but it's like speakeasy style. So there's no sign. There's no like door that you can walk in. You have to go around to what looks like a loading area, and you have to knock on the door, or click the doorbell or whatever, and then they let you in. They check your card. You have to be a member. So yeah, so it sounds like there's a lot of people in the UK area that would hang out. Oh, Ben says it's called Beer Pledge. It's Beer Pledge? Okay. Yeah, it's I knew they changed the name like right after I left, like Fred left or something like that. Sayed keeps asking about the best Amazon affiliate niche right now. I don't know, man. You got to do your own research. That's a bad question. Ask something else. Sorry. Stupid question. Sorry. Not going to answer it. Oh, Ben says not cool enough to go into the beer pledge. See, and the thing is, it was so cool because like people like heard about it word of mouth, and then like a lot of people in the homebrew beer scene, they were we would just see each other down there, big supporters of the homebrew community and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just, I mean, like any place, it was great to go down there and have a beer that had nice food, little higher end than the normal Taco Mac. Although honestly, fucking love Taco Mac and just the normal bar food stuff that you can get there. The wings, often would get wings. And in fact, when I was in Atlanta last year, my friends and I met up at the Prado there. That was sort of our home base, kind of the central location. Had some wings, and I am I think in the Bruniversity program. For people that are not in Atlanta, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But in the Bruniversity program, it's like a beer loyalty program. So if you get a unique beer, a beer that you haven't had before, then you earn like a credit. And once you hit different milestones, then you get like a t-shirt or like a polo or a jacket, and then you get a plaque on the wall. So for anyone in Atlanta, if you go to the Prado, right, if you go to the Prado Taco Mac, there's a plaque on the wall. I have a master's degree level in the Bruniversity. So that means I had hundreds of beers there. So if you order one, you get it not just in I guess this is probably a 14 to 16 ounce glass here. You need, you actually get a giant mug that's a 20 ouncer, or could be more, but I think it's a 20 ouncer. So you pay for your normal pint, but you get 20 ounces. 20 ounces. Yeah. All right. Last question here. So Syed says multiple niche versus micro niche. Neither. I prefer neither of those. Those are just not options that I like. So I usually don't do micro, don't do multi. Phil says you need to get back to the US. Yeah, there's so much beer here, man. Definitely check out Colorado. And yeah, Phil says it's a pint. Yeah. You're saying 20 ounces is a pint? Or 16? Okay, Gaming World, last question. Doug, what about omitted results in the all in title? Because clicking omitted results makes the all in title results increase. My question, should we follow omitted results? The answer is no. So here's the thing. Usually in my instructions, I tell you what you need to do. I don't tell you the things that you don't need to do. So a lot of people do ask, they're like, hey, you know what, Doug, I do the all in title, but then when I click through 8 pages of results, it tells me a different number at the very end. You know what? I've never gone to the very end. Just use the one at the top. If you needed to go to the end, I would have told you, go to the end. So just like that, if you needed to use the omitted results, I would say, oh, be sure you go all the way to the bottom. If it does say something about omitted results, you need to click that. It is essential, but it's not. It's not essential, so I don't tell you irrelevant stuff. I try to keep it tight often, except for live streams. I'll just keep talking then. But often in my instructions, I try to just tell you what you need to do, and only if it's a very common thing, like, oh, someone would, go to the omitted results and try to find other information. Sure, there's other information, but I don't tell you. I don't tell you to do stuff that you don't need to do. I'm worried if Doug tastes my beer. Oh man, I've had many beers. That's what the beer judges do. All right, Phil, good comment there. Good comment there. The omitted results are usually duplicates from the same site. And to go deeper, a lot of times it's from the archive pages. So I'm aware of all this stuff that we're talking about. I usually just don't talk about it. All right, I think that's it for today. Everybody have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.